Transhumanism is a really interesting topic. I think it's going to be a more popular topic as it becomes a little more real for us, insofar as what these people are willing to do to transform themselves out of humanity. So I want to see some of it. I want to see. Hey, Max. Hey, buddy. Thank you for your gift. I really appreciate you, man, sending that to us. That was awesome. Really appreciate that.
Good.
That's perfect.
Okay. Are you Hungarian, Zoltan?
I have a Hungarian passport, but I was born in the United States.
Right. Gotcha. Well, I mean, he's just asking like your background, your family.
He's not. We're not trying to put you on a list to get you kicked out of the country, buddy.
Hail from Hungary, then.
Yes, absolutely. They escaped from the communist government.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, Mr. Isfin,
at least I got some moon curry.
I appreciate you coming on and take the time today. I don't get to talk to many transhumanists or debate with them, so I appreciate it.
Campy says for $10, thank you. When Bart Sibrel shows Buzz video of them faking how far from Earth they are, and Buzz literally says, "We're just passengers. Talk to the administrator of NASA." And it's to me, it's so obvious. Maybe that because of how obvious it is, people just don't even look at it. They're like, "Well, it's." Plus, there's a social aspect. I mean, look at what happened in the chat, Camp Crystal. This happened with COVID. This happens with all sorts of things. It happened with 9/11. When you watch two buildings standing there for 45 minutes with full tension, and the tension disappears with no obvious reason other than bombs, you gaslight. You get gaslit. You go, no, that doesn't work. You know, two towers don't fall free fall speed onto their own imprint without any help. That doesn't happen. The fact that they were standing before they fell demonstrates that the tension was there. If the tension was there, then the speed at which buildings fall is slowed because there's tension, there's stuff in the way. That's physics. You had to actually deny physics to accept the narrative of 9/11. That's what 9/11 accomplished. It got nearly 80, maybe 80+% of the United States and the world to deny physics itself. Physics. And we're all surprised how many years later that people think men could have babies. Why are you surprised? Do you really think that if you can convince a bunch of people that physics no longer is a thing that holds true, you think it's a big jump 20, 30, 50 years later to get them to believe that that men can, breastfeed or something? No. It's totally on the trajectory. It makes total sense to me. It's a massive gaslighting campaign to get people to deny reality. Thanks for the refreshing ride home after 14 hours of churning out goal slop. You're welcome, dude. You're welcome, Scribs. Thank you for working so hard.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we'll kick it over to Bruce Buffer, who's just waiting backstage, and then we will get into the opening statements.
And now, for the thousands in attendance, let's get ready to rumble!
How does Jake not get copyright-written strike for that?
And with that,
they fell out of depression. The Twin Towers fell out of depression.
Zoltan, you have 5 minutes on the clock for your opening statement. Let's get into it.
JB, would you be a crusade advocate? Yeah, I would. Essentially, I take a pretty aggressive position on Islam right now. I think right now is the time America should be forcefully removing Muslims from society.
Great. Well, I gave a little bit of my opening statement earlier. Listen, transhumanism is a social movement of many millions of people around the world that want to use science and technology to radically modify the human body and also modify the human experience. Anything from, using exoskeleton suits to kind of climb Mount Everest when you're maybe a senior citizen, even to things like driverless cars, to brain implants, all sorts of wild stuff that is happening, including artificial intelligence. Let me quickly give a little bit of a background on how I even got into this. I began my career as a journalist for National Geographic. I've also been a correspondent for the New York Times. And I have been writing about technology as well as war zones and other issues for 30 years. I mean, I have a ton of 300 plus op-ed essays out there and many more just normal essays.
The thing about Zoltan, and sometimes you come across where people have horrible views and they're still kind of like, I don't know, generally likable people. I think he's one of those people.
I have found that through the war zones I covered, especially for National Geographic, I became very afraid of dying. And because I am somebody who does not believe.
I mean, I understand that. I think the reason you should be afraid of dying is because you believe in an afterlife. Otherwise, it makes no sense to be afraid of dying, because if you died and there was nothing, you couldn't be afraid of the aftermath of dying. It doesn't actually make sense to be afraid of dying. In fact, it's our fear of death that would point to the intuition of something beyond death. Now, the question is to what extent we follow our intuitions. I always found that interesting, that people who believe there's nothing after death fear death. That doesn't make any sense.
In creator, or it's not necessarily I don't believe. I'm kind of just agnostic. I just haven't seen enough evidence or any evidence of a creator, and I certainly don't believe in an afterlife. I have chosen to dedicate.
Yeah, so you have nothing to fear. I don't know what you're talking about.
My life to transhumanism. The number one goal of transhumanism is trying to.
I used to be into this shit. I used to be a futurist. I was all into transhumanism. I clearly swapped out soft Christianity, which I was raised with. No real rigorous tradition, nothing holding me to it. But God bless my parents for yoking me enough. I got just enough of the yellow yoke to come back to it and find the truth. But ultimately, I swapped Christianity for technology. I swapped it out. I was aware of it, too. It was interesting. In my early 20s. I was like consciously aware that my drive toward futurism and tech and virtual worlds and robotics and all these nerdy things, I found myself in all these weird communities. They were like hedonistic, and there's always a fire thrower, and all this, sort of like that culture of like Burning Man, but not at Burning Man, this kind of thing. And I was like, this is where it's at, man. Yeah, the future, man. And looking back, it's so embarrassing. Because there is no telos, there's no direction. In fact, their direction, as you'll see in this debate with Andrew, the direction is some sort of mutilated version of theosis. And in fact, I saw a chat here. The ultimate war that we're always fighting is apotheosis versus theosis. And the good news about transhumanists, even though they're mostly sick, demonic people, and I've met many of them, is that their urge... They have a misplaced urge. They have a misplaced desire. I believe that many people, absent those who actually know God and reject God willfully, which is true wickedness, that people have an impulse toward theosis, that they want to know creator. They want to participate with God through creation, through matter. They want sacrament. They want a sacramental experience. And that's a good part of them. The problem is, the difficulty is extracting that part of them and leaving behind the part that's wrong, that's off, which is the apotheosis part, the Mormon part, the transhumanist part, the trans movement part. But their inclination is good. They have a good inclination that's misdirected. That's what I believe. This guy Zoltan somehow has a degree in philosophy, but through the course of the debate demonstrated he has no understanding of epistemology. Yeah, I doubt he even paid attention. Intel Wild, $5. Cooler with the anti-freak. Freak, yeah.
To overcome biological death with science and technology. And I assure you, based on just how we've done the last 100 years, people are living twice as long as they once did, and they're going to continue to live dramatically longer as we start bringing in some of these brand new technologies, genetic editing, artificial intelligence is starting to uncover these new drugs. There's a bunch of patents and a bunch of drugs that are going to human trials right now, actually. I'd probably say within 18 to 24 months, you will have drugs in the market that effectively make you live 20 to 30% longer.
It's such a stupid position, because living longer doesn't even tell you what life should be. That's like saying, I figured out a drug to make my arm really huge. One of my arms massively big, ever growing. Why? No idea why. But it'll happen. I mean, the future is just giant arms everywhere.
Already. So, and we have, 3D printed organs. We have organ transplants. We have all sorts of things that are starting to happen that enable you to live longer when...
Cool. Can you ever print the good? Probably not. MadeByJimbob, please bring Jimbob a double shot of bourbon. She just got me another beer. I mean, the bourbon's really good, though. Giovanni Garcia, $5. To love Christ fully is to learn true love because he is the only one who loves perfectly. Giovanni, are you Orthodox? If not, why don't you plan on going to Divine Liturgy this weekend? Speaking of transhumanism, we can't even get a good internet signal. These people think they're going to live forever. It's just insane. The reality is insane once you look at it. Like all your biggest notions of the world turning out how you thought it would and like a future and your utopian vision and all your dreams. All it takes is one red light that's a little too long. All it takes is one wheel of death on the internet to be like, well,
something happens to you.
So I got a little out of hand with my dreams.
And hopefully we'll even have things like universal vaccines for cancer and things like that, for example, Russia just launched apparently a couple days ago. Don't know if it works. But the point is, transhumanism is all around you. It's happening.
Yeah, Zoltan. Why don't you inject yourself with a bunch of jibby jabs? Let's see how that goes.
Very quickly. And its number one goal is to overcome death and biological aging. It's not just really we don't want to die. It's actually we want to remain as younger people, and we will be able to reverse aging.
That's the other thing about living forever. It's not living forever. It's living at an age forever. That's a really unique thing. Like if you ask two people if they want to live forever, but the condition is you live forever as you are. You ask a 90-year-old that, and you ask a 17-year-old that, you're going to have wildly different answers. So the thing that's being pursued, you notice here, this is metaphysics here. This is something deeper than what the application actually is. The thing in question isn't forever. It's in what way forever. So it's just, this is what happens when people have this notion in their mind that they could become God. Because what else are you doing other than crafting a scenario in which reality is fixed to all of your preferences? So why stop at living forever? It never ends. This is the problem. It never ends. Let's grant that they figure out how to live forever. Now the next variable is, well, what state am I in that I'm living forever? So you got your youth. Well, now you have a question, well, what's in place in forever for me to play with forever? And then you go, well, now we have a problem that reality is still constrained and my own thoughts and imagination isn't the reality. Now we have a bigger problem to transcend. So the problem of transhumanism is that there's never an endpoint to what you're trying to transcend. There's never an endpoint. There's always a new state of affairs that you're trying to transcend. It's very gnostic, by the way. This is the trap of transhumanism. It's not just like completely utter crap apotheosis, which it is. But the trap of apotheosis is that it's never good enough anyway. You could never reach it because you're always trapped in your constraints. It's like Protestantism, but the authority is nature and the world. You're trying to argue against the authority of nature and the world, which is an argument against God himself in a sense. And so they think, very Gnostic, to believe that the earth, the world, its constraints, nature is something like a prison that you have to escape. And the irony, as I've seen in the chat, so many smart people in my chat. That's why we have one of the smaller chats. That's what I like to say. The escape becomes the prison. Like the whole view that you have to escape something becomes the prison. As many of you said, living forever is a prison. That sounds like hell. Well, there's always some new thing to escape. It's like the Matrix, but it's fractal. Never-ending levels of Matrix that you're always looking at the thing to escape. Well, we escaped death. Now we need to escape the constraints of physical reality. Because look, if you escape death and you hypothetically made it so your fleshly being could exist forever, you're existing forever in a material nature, right? Well, now that's your new constraint. And then you have the constraint once you transcend the physical reality and you go full digital and you live forever. Now you have the constraint of other minds. Why have other minds? Why not just craft a solipsistic, eternal, blissful, euphoric utopia forever? Right? A prison of your own desires. Why not?
Aging at some point. They've had plenty of studies that they've been able to do that in mice and things like that. So, but that said, it's also a social movement. It's this idea that we can become superhumans. We can go off planet. We don't have to be, susceptible to breathing air, to choking on food, or.
See what I'm saying? What did I just say? It's never enough. Oh, the constraints of reality. This is like the same argument that atheists. Oh, if God exists, why bad thing happened? What do you mean? So your argument is, if God exists, why can't I not go underwater forever? That's a bad thing for me. I want to go underwater. I want to be able to breathe underwater forever. Same crap from Zoltan here. Well, we have to transcend every part of reality. I'm so tired of the laws of physics. It's so self-refuting. Oh, I'm so tired of, we got to transcend the laws of physics.
In being too cold or too hot. Eventually we can overcome these things, upgrade ourselves to become.
Oh God, what a gay position. It's like, you know what it is, you guys? It's let's remove the necessity of sacrifice. It's the most pussy bitch-based position ever, Zoltan. Now I don't like him. I was like saying like, well, I'd have a beer with him. Now I want to punch him. I want to punch him. He's like a kid saying to his dad, but I don't want to work hard and I don't want to sacrifice. I don't want to bleed. I don't want to sweat. I hate sweating. Sweating's icky. I'll punch you. Needs to be punched right in his face, not debated. He needs to be punched. Why are you so gay? Why are these people so gay? Why are they so gay? I just woke up groggy and I want to get rid of grogginess. So that's the next thing we're getting.
I just get so mad. I
stubbed my toe. I don't want a toe, so I got rid of my toe. I don't like blinking, so I got rid of blinking. Fucking retard.
Cyborgs and things of that nature. Now, some people say that.
Fucking idiot. I don't want to grow bones. It hurts. I don't like losing my baby teeth and growing real teeth. It hurts. You fucking putz.
That this makes us.
Fucking retard. Chase says for $5, if we obtain the tech to live forever, quote, then an asteroid hits and then they have to live on a desolate planet forever. Yeah. This guy sucks. How could he be a good father? Imagine being a father when you can't teach your children, especially your sons, that a part of life, a part of your virtuous Christian paradigm or, absent Christianity, I don't know what it would be, but that your job is to avoid hardship? Dude just needs his nose broken. Dude needs to be slapped like woman propaganda. $5, I want a robot that will chew my food. Yeah, totally, dude. That's so accurate. It really is. I don't want to I need another hand to masturbate me. I want a bird to spit food in my mouth from the sky. But I don't want it to. I don't want to breathe myself. What the hell?
It's not human. And
essentially, it's don't be a human, right? Like every part about being human. That's the irony. Is like Andrew says this in the debate. He says there's like a I don't know if it's a contradiction or a paradox where he says. Andrew said it at some point in this debate. I don't know if we'll get to it, but he basically said like, he said something like, well, you're trying to transcend what's human, but the thing is you're always judging from the human perspective. It's like you try to transcend being human, But it's always the human that's judging the transcending level, right? Where you're at. So you never escape being human. In fact, you almost necessitate that the human part stay so it can judge your pattern, your process. This is why it's stupid. Because if you transcend the nature of being human, the judge of the new thing ultimately would be who? Be what? What would it be? A robot? An executed set of commands? What are you asking for, Zoltan? Oh, I just want to transcend being human. It's such a prison. I'd much rather be a calculator. You fucking idiot.
We can discuss that and debate that. But the question is really not whether we remain human. It's really...
Jimbob by Hardy. Yeah, I already know that. Sean, thank you for that. $10. I watched a couple of his music videos. Thank you for that.
That is the natural course of action for the human species, who has a very rational brain and this affinity to evolve. And now we've sort of taken evolution into our own hands. And I'm very excited about that. I've spoken all around the world.
You're going to die alone. You're going to die, and all of your little boards and just graphs you drew and you thought was going to happen is not going to happen, buddy. Zoltan. You're in your 50s for sure. It's over, dude. Stop. I'm really very much excited to live.
About that, World Bank, World Economic Forum. I've met presidents. I advise heads of state, whatever it is. I've been doing it now for, a good solid...
How long is this guy going to prattle on for?
15 years.
Debate a lot of people. A lot of people. All sorts of ways of life and belief structures. I've never quite encountered someone who was a man who said so much fucking bullshit. Who fit in so much bullshit in 10 minutes. Gotta hand it to you.
And I'm amazed myself at how fast the movement is growing. I also understand, and that's why
the movement
here tonight, that Christian society finds this despicable in many ways, especially if you're a traditionalist.
Yeah, it's called a heresy. This is why I just want to fight. I'm so tired of... I'm just so tired of commentary. I'm tired of framing. I'm tired of drawing. I'm tired of writing songs. I want a damn war. I want a war.
That said, there are some Christian transhumanists.
It gets worse. He's running for a CA governor, studying in Oxford. Essentially, he diminishes the status of the office. Yeah, he probably wants to vote in what's the future technocratic version of Plato's Republic, where it's not even people who are fancy, it's just AI directives. When are we going to get the first company? It starts with a company. When do we get the first company voting into office? It's an individual voted into office. Okay, then if you do a company, then when do we get the first AI voted into office? Is it in our lifetime? We're in the first, like it doesn't have to be at a massive level. It could be at some weird, South Dakota, some town of 10 people. They go, well, we decided because of the amount of people and the drag we have of resources, we've just introduced an AI that just sort of sits around and aggregates all of the data from our small community of 100 people. And half of them are drunk natives. Hey, do you think when drunk people, do you think when Indians are drunk and they do smoke signals, they send out slurred symbols? I quite like that joke myself. I just got a visual of that. That's so funny. There's things are spelled wrong, whatever that means. You send out a smoke signal, but you're shit faced, and a wolf comes, and you're like, I don't need you. Why are you here? This is a smoke signal. Hi, yeah.
We can get into that as well.
My bad.
But the real question is, is there really a problem between Christianity and transhumanism? And if you follow the Bible literally, there's certainly a major kind of chasm that we're going to have to find. Can we close that divide? Probably not, but we can discuss it. And that's why I'm here tonight. So I hope my introduction has introduced you to some of the ideas of transhumanism.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Transhumanism, as well as who I am, a journalist, a gubernatorial candidate for governor in California as a Democrat, as well as someone who's been writing and speaking on.
Oh, he's so political. He's such a politician.
The movement now.
He's going to do great.
For well over a decade.
I don't hear a single, not in that long-winded diatribe. Nothing in your fantastical world that you gave us did I hear a single argument. Not a single argument presented.
Okay, Andrew, 5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I've actually listened to quite a bit of your stuff in preparation for this debate. So
I'm sorry.
So you are consistent, if nothing else, about your view, which I appreciate. So debating about transhumanism is somewhat difficult.
I like how Andrew butters up his filet before he just eats it. What a bad man. What a bad, bad man.
Because it's never altogether clear what anybody is talking about when they debate it. Transhumanist ideology is usually baked into other systems which support it rather than being a philosophy which stands out on its own. A sub-position, if you will, of a generally greater position, focusing mostly on elongation.
The India moon landing is, yeah, dude, yeah.
Of life and transcending the humanity of human beings and their biological limitations. I would like to give a short analogy about this by referencing it to a small Midwestern town called Raccoon City.
You know what's weird about the transhumanists? Because Atheist here says something funny. He says, I don't want to take a breath and breathe in. I want a machine to do it for me, which is funny because, like, the thing you want to avoid in the world is being on, like, an iron lung. Now, it's amazing that we have an iron lung and we could keep people alive and stuff, but to seek the remedy to ailments as the norm is a really bizarre take, where you actually, like for instance, I've never thought about this. I just got my concealed carry renewed, and one of the guys in the class didn't have a leg, and he had a bionic leg. And you think, okay, cool. In the absence of a leg, a bionic leg, that's pretty cool that you have that. I'm glad that humans, through their capabilities, have developed this. Nice. But then at the same time, a transhumanist looks at the bionic leg and they go, we should do that. And you're like, wait, no. That's for when there's a problem. Like, it's good that we have that as a solution to a problem, just like like an iron lung, bionic leg, fake eyes, fake heart. The transhumanist is all wonky. They're basically like, wait. Let's skip the necessary ailment that draws in the remedy, the technological remedy. Let's just skip to the remedy. And you're like, why, dude? Our bodies are better than the machines a lot of times. Now, it's not true for, like, calculations. Like, a calculator can do better stuff than us, but a calculator can't build a calculator, though. And the transhumanist is lost. And I know this because I was, like I told you guys, I was a transhumanist. I was an active, passionate transhumanist. And the philosophy of it, once you discover the philosophy, how broken it is. It's so broken and backward.
In Raccoon City, a private corporation released a virus which altered the genes of victims. Most victims entered into a state of what could only be referred to as zombification, including many of the animals. The nature of this virus was such that the wounds of the victims did not cause death. They no longer aged, they no longer felt pain, and they stayed in this state perhaps indefinitely. Immortality, in other words. And they no longer worried about the higher purposes, instead reverting to primary functions. Some of them actually evolved past this zombie-like state and into other types of what could only be considered human hybrids. Their strength increased drastically, wounds healed.
It's like, what's the problem? Oh, my leg is a leg. Wait, your leg works. Yeah, but it's a leg. What do you want it to be? I want it to be another brain. Like, it never ends. There's no ending to it. Why is there no ending? Because there's no true teleology. There's no true telos. It's just changing things. Oh, that's changed. Well, on what basis could you just look at your hand and be like, I'm so tired of this hand. Why are my feet not hands? I want hand feet. Imagine people with hand feet. That would be so gross.
Healing instantly, Their physical abilities improved to something far beyond that of a normal human being. The company who released this virus and its sponsors claimed it was, quote, the next step in human evolution. That to stand against it was to stand against progress.
Yeah, prosthetics. When you ask someone angry amputee who's seemingly an amputee who's angry, you go, okay, the prosthetic leg, great. It's a good substitute for not having a leg. But if you had a functioning leg, you'd prefer the natural one. And this is what gets crazy when people who are evolution proponents propose to me that a dysteleological, purposeless, natural process of chemical reactions produced such high precision apparatuses like a leg or a liver or a heart or a mind or a nose or olfactory or an eyes or ears or the rest. All of it. And then when one of these things breaks, right, the genius biochemist, bioengineer makes a fake heart, they suddenly believe it has purpose. So the fake heart has purpose, the fake leg has purpose, but the one that it's mimicking, that you're designing it after, has no purpose.
While the events here are, of course, fictional, the point stands. That is a transhumanist future. What is the problem with it, ultimately? If we had a zombie apocalypse and everybody turned into the, quote, undead, isn't this immortality? My opponent's starting axiom is just that, immortality itself, for the sake of being immortal.
It's gnostic.
He doesn't really tell us the reasoning behind the grounding of this axiom or its ultimate purpose, only that he fears death.
Do you guys, I don't even think that this guy knows he's taking on a gnostic position. Do you see how that happens? Like, we often say, oh, that's satanic, or they're being demonic. A lot of times the natural thing to gear towards when you reject God is just those expressions. And so it gets us into a bit of a pickle. Like, we don't judge the heart. That's for God to do. But we look at the patterns and we try to correct through a meaningful, like, lens. And, sometimes we're good at it and sometimes we're bad at it. But what I'm pointing to is that a lot of people don't know that they're in a paradigm that's not new. Like, for instance, Gnosticism and this view to escape the prison of nature, right, is not new. But a transhumanist doesn't need to know the background of Gnosticism, at least that element of escaping the prison of nature and transcending it somehow. They don't need to know about it historically or philosophically to kind of lean into it without even knowing it's already established. That's why new heresies. How many of the people that you've talked to that you call out a heresy of, let's say it's a Christological heresy or something else, how many of them automatically know the history? Like, how many of them who've even read through even a little bit of St. Irenaeus against heresies? None, almost none. And you're amazed. You're like, how did you arrive at such a specific heresy without having any knowledge of a previous, that it's already been developed as a heresy? Now, from my perspective, that points to the timeless truth of Christianity, that the fact that it's almost a blessing. This is my white pill moment. It's almost a blessing that heresies keep showing up in the way they do. Without any reference to church history, they still persist and show up as the privation or misdirection away from Christianity. And I'm like, awesome. It's not awesome you're going to do that, but it's awesome that it's a south to the north. You know what I mean? It necessitates the north. It's like, okay, true north exists. Nice.
And therefore, this axiom has become his primary edict. I share some of the frustrations that Zoltan has. I fully understand that Christianity can be weaponized against scientific progression in society, sometimes for good and sometimes for not so good purposes. So that Zoltan understands I'm not against scientific progression in society, though I do think it needs to be done responsibly. I am certainly in favor of life-extending technologies and life-saving technologies. An engineer by trade, though not degree, I have a love of technology myself, especially machinery. Let us take firearms, for instance, as an example here. If my axiom was just firearms, it wouldn't make much sense, would it? A firearm is just a simple machine. It doesn't need to ever be used to kill, but that is its primary function.
Yeah, a firearm is not a direction. A firearm is a thing in itself. It doesn't... There's a purpose it was made, for sure, but...
My worldview allows for defensive killing in defense of yourself and for others. So the axiom isn't ever firearm itself, right? That would...
Giovanni Garcia says, for $5, Christ is King, Christ is Lord. Absolutely. But I did ask you, and I don't know if I got an answer. Are you Orthodox, Giovanni? If not, would you do me a favor and kindly go to liturgy this week?
Doesn't make any sense. It's defense against the aggression of evil. That is good. That would be the axiom we'd be working with there. And firearms themselves are neither good nor evil, just technology. Which,
speaking of firearms, it's going to be illegal in August if the law passes that I could get an AR-15. I already have one, but now I'm tempted to get like 5 because in Colorado they're going to pass a law where you can't get it. Fucking stupid.
can be used for good or evil, which is where we get into the worldview justification and how it is that inside of Zoltan's worldview of transhumanism, things will get, quote, better than that of a society which uses Christian ethics as a guiding stone in the United States. I would argue immediately, of course, transgender ideology goes hand in hand with transhumanist ideology, a technology designed to remove biological sexual limitations in order to progress towards transcending your base human limitations. It is definitely, or has definitely, not made America better, Zoltan. And that's really the problem, ultimately, with this ideology, from my view. The very idea here is to transcend humanity itself, but only through appealing to base human desires, which is humanity. You're appealing...
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Is an interesting little... It's not a contradiction. Oh, it is. Is it in a contradiction? Yeah, it is a contradiction. We need to transcend we need to transcend what it is to be human. Wait, what is the contradiction? Is it a paradox or a contradiction? I'm a little drunk. Anybody? I sent you a SC answering you. Oh, no problem. Wait, no, you sent it. Oh, you sent it as super chat? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll have to hunt it down.
Into the same thing you're trying to transcend. Zoltan seems to understand some of his ethical system, or some other ethical system, is needed to complement his axiom of immortality, as he is a big believer in spiritualism. But this is a vague concept and ultimately meaningless. What he's saying is he's trying to make some kind of appeal to human motivation for purpose, or telos. And if they find purpose through some kind of spiritual revelation, well, good for them. Christianity offers for society something much better. The idea of virtues, compassion, love, confined ethics for the purpose of fully experiencing our humanity and embracing it with our purpose, or telos, rather than rejecting it and attempting, I would say in futility, to transcend it.
Is that what it is, Miguel? You can't not be human. Right. Yeah. Okay, so you're a human. It's the human that's transcending being human. So it's like, what is it? We need to transcend being human. That's human. Well, I would say it's like the spiritual impulse. The misdirection for the transhumanists is that it comes back to apotheosis. We want to be like God. In that sense, we want to transcend our humanness. We can't be God the person. We can't be God the nature, but we can be like God. Zoltan wants to be like God, but he can't tell you what God is. So his God is human. And so the human is telling you what it is to transcend human. But you can't know what it is to transcend human because it's human that's telling you that. Isn't that interesting? He doesn't even have he doesn't even have a standard. This is the approach I would take. Now, I don't know if Andrew gets into it. He would probably think of this as well. Is that Zoltan and many of the transhumanists that I've known throughout my life, they don't actually have a standard for when something transcends human. They couldn't even tell you what it means. And this is the same thing for vegans. It's the same thing for atheists, evolution proponents. They can't tell you what it means to be human. So why would I trust your account of transcending humanity if you don't even have an objective standard for what it is to be a human? That's stupid. Now I'm heading toward Orthodox. Glory to God. Nice to know that, Giovanni.
Science and technology, he says he wants them to improve the world. So do I. But that doesn't give us an ethical standard for how that should be done, how that should be accomplished, why we should even be moving towards that. There's no grounded axiom here. It's just a preference that he has. When he says, transhumanism, as it applies, he gives this definition. I have no problem with this definition. I think it's fine. The idea that we're trying to elongate, humanity to the point where, we could even reverse our own aging process and move towards immortality. He defines this by saying science and technology, which will wildly improve human performance. I understand that too. He was in a war zone. He has fear of dying. I totally get that. Everybody has to contend with their own mortality at some point. He did say, though, in his opening, and I just wanted to address this very quickly, he says humans are living twice as long as they used to. It's actually not true. The truth is that we use live birth numbers in order to determine how long people live, and infant mortality used to be way higher. And because of that, what we did was we took an average, and so the life expectancy went down to like 30 or 40 because of how many infants used to die.
That's 6 minutes.
Now, I'm almost done. I'll just tie this off if you don't mind. So this is actually what he's doing here. He's not being particularly honest with this. In fact, if it is the case that you could, overcome.
I want to be an infant again. It's funny you say that, tonic, clonic, chronic. What a name. What a name. It's interesting that the entailment of transhumanism would actually be a type of perpetual float tank, baby in the womb scenario, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it? It would be. It would be the ultimate goal would be to be perpetually floating in some sort of like warm fluid that feels good, that you could pee and poop in, and then the poop turns into a hamburger somehow. But it could taste like a strawberry milkshake, but it's a hamburger. And you're just perpetually in a state of euphoria and conjuring your own will into reality, constantly. You're in a womb. Woompy. You know what I mean? Full on woompy. That's what they want. Transhumanism wants a world of woompy. Womb P. Womb P. Womb P. $10 from Chaw. This debate enraged me. This is the only worldview that seems on par with the pure self-preserving evil of antinatalism. It's also just aspirational neo-future gooning. Yeah. Add to that Chaw apotheosis. It is enraging, though. Because it's so, what's enraging about it? It's like trying to correct your kid when they're like saying something that's not based in reality. And you kind of go, well, they're a kid, so I'm gonna let them live in a sort of like a suspended state a little bit until they learn. But you're also like, damn it, would you figure out reality already? This guy is like, yeah, he has gray hair and a tie and a suit, and he's gonna run for office, and his name is Zoltan. But he really is a child. He's a child. Bird Hermit, $20, says, I'm a widower in my 30s. I attended my first liturgy on the other day and have connected up with my spiritual father. I'm saved. If I'm saved, it will be largely thanks to you, the work of yourself and Jay. God bless you. Well, that's amazing, dude. Keep going. And that's amazing. It's the best news that I ever hear. Above anything else. It's like, wreck some femoid, wreck some atheist, wreck some this, wreck some that, do some funny humor, sing a song. Aside from all the other ways you guys support, the best thing that I could ever experience is like a direct message or a super chat that says I went to liturgy.
Infant mortality 300 years ago, you lived about as long as you do right now. That is, in fact, what is true. So no, we're not really living much longer. In fact, infant mortality in the West is going up due to the aging population of women who are having children now. So it's one of the, in fact, in the West, in the first world nation, right? This is really one of the only nations in which infant mortality is increasing rather than decreasing. So, and then I'll just tie this off this last thing very quickly. He says Christianity finds this despicable. They do, but they do for precise moral reasons. They don't find it despicable because you're looking at saving, leukemia treatments, right? So, yeah, with that, I'm willing to dive right into the debate.
All right, you guys have open dialogue now, as long as you pretty much want. At least 60 minutes, maybe. Can go towards 90, so with that.
Yeah, you poofter? Oh, Lord Jake? Yeah? Oh, you're gonna tackle a snake? Yeah. Great white. Now that's a knife. Huh? You can't? My first and only tattoo is a symbol of the itch in Koine Greek on my forearm. Nice.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, well, I wanted to start.
Yeah, fucking cunt. Cunt. You can't. Wait. Fucking cunt. You fucking cunt. Wait. You fucking cunt. Yeah, poofta. You fucking cunt.
Or by just maybe.
Can't get it. You fucking cunt. Yeah, fucking cunt.
We can dive into this. The humans living twice as long. That is not a factually accurate statement, right?
Yeah. Oh, venom. Oh, you fucking cunt.
What happened is we used to use infant deaths, and then that would bring the average down for people. But if you got
fucking cunt, fucking cunt, is that right? It's fucking cunt. Yeah. Oh, I tackled a snake. Yeah, fucking cunt.
got past like the 8.
Oh, yeah, fucking what? There's a man of war. Yeah, fucking cunt.
Age of 6, you did live to, about the same age that you do now, between 60 and 80.
I'm just not even going to argue with this. Look, people.
Because you can't argue. The reason you won't argue is because you can't argue.
Used to die from cavities all the time, but this doesn't really get into the crux
Die from cavities? Excuse me?
of what I think is interesting.
Hang on,
Oh, you died from a cavity? Man, can crikey. Yeah, what a poofta. Fucking can't. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Mike. You fucking can't. You fucking can't. Oh, yeah. You fucking can't.
I just want to correct
for
this,
you and
though.
I. What's interesting in this debate for you and I is like, really, why does Christianity not appreciate or like transhumanism? Because honestly, the statistics on why people live twice as long or whether they don't is really not important. I'm actually.
Well, it's a little thing. It's an ancient thing called apotheosis. Have you heard of Zoltan? Have you heard of apotheosis? Have you heard of it?
Interested very much in why
You fucking cunt.
you actually would have a problem. Like you were talking about the zombies and you're very good in your
hang on,
speech.
if it's not
That's
important, then why did
That's
you bring
something
it
I
up?
want to talk about.
That's what I'm curious about. Why did you bring it up? Because it's part of a sales pitch, right? Isn't it part of a sales pitch to say, look, people are living twice as long now, and that's due to scientific progression and this and that?
Farkin can't. Yeah, farkin can't. That's better. Farkin can't. Wait, hold on. Farkin can't. Yeah, fucking can't. What are you fucking poofta? Poofta? What are you, fuck? What are you, fucking poofta? You fucking can't. Yeah.
So you brought this up.
You fucking can't.
Up as part of a sales pitch, and I do want to make sure that this gets corrected, and then we could dive into the other ethical concerns. It's like,
Well, you thinking.
Transhumanism.
Yeah, fucking.
so this is actually what he's doing here. He's not being particularly honest with this. It in fact, if it is the case that you could overcome infant mortality 300 years ago, you lived about as long as you do right now. That is in fact what is true.
Hey, what do you know, you thinking?
So no, we're not really living much longer. In fact, infant mortality in the West is going up, dude.
More bourbon. Well, the kids brought me up 2 gay beers. MadeByJimbob was like, no on the bourbon. That's scary stuff. You
The
thinking?
aging population of women who are having children now. So it's one of the, in fact, in the West, in the first world nation, right? This is really one of the only nations in which infant mortality is increasing rather than decreasing. So, and then I'll just tie this off this last thing very quickly. He says Christianity finds this despicable. They do, but they do for precise moral reasons. They don't find it despicable because you're looking at saving, leukemia treatments, right? So, yeah, with that, I'm willing to dive right into the debate.
It's not totally relevant to the debate, and Andrew doesn't need to do this, and he could if he wanted to, but I think it would be important if there was added context. It's not necessary in this debate, but if you were to like follow up with Zoltan, I think it's important that Zoltan know that from a Christian view, there's a theological aspect that from a Christian view looks at transhumanism and would say transhumanism is participating in a type of heretical activity, and it's basically borrowing terms and perverting it, right? So in really clear terms, it would be simply like, we want to pursue theosis. Thank you. And apotheosis is this other thing. And so really simple terms, that we believe that man is made in God's image, and that our lowercase creativity, technology, the things we do, things we make, are always lowercase c creative. They're really manipulation, and I don't mean that in like a deceptive way. I mean we're actually manipulating matter that was created, and it happens to be the case that through matter we participate in God. But from the transhumanist view, what they do is subvert, and they pervert, and they present a counterfeit. And what they do is they make technology in their image. They make a new God in their image. And the key aspect when you debate a transhumanist is there's always a metaphysical category that's in play during the debate. There's ethics, there's epistemology, and there's teleology, which Andrew already appropriately brought up. Because that the whole entire scheme of transhumanism assumes a teleology that they don't even have a justification for. And so really at the root of it, Zoltan, the reason Christianity would reject transhumanism is because transhumanism would be a perversion of theosis.
All right, you guys have open dialogue now. As long as you'd pretty much want at least 60 minutes, maybe can go towards 90. So with that, let's get into it.
Yeah, well, I wanted to start by just maybe we can dive into this. The humans living twice as long. That is not factually accurate statement, right? What happened is we used to use infant healthy, not because of dead. I just want to say, do you think that a male within a 100-year time frame will be able to grow a uterus in themselves and give birth? Do you think?
What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you need that? Why would you want that? Even if you said, yeah, that could happen. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Well, what if a man could... We already can do that. It's called a fucking woman, you fucking cunt.
I think that you may be able to make genetic modifications to a person where they can have a uterus inside of them, but that doesn't mean that they'll be able to birth children because of it. It will end up being something more akin to a cosmetic defect, or a cosmetic thing. For instance, in nature itself, there are things called chimeras, human beings who are chimeras. Chimera being a person who has two primary sex organs, male and female sex organs. Interestingly enough, though, the reason we know sex is a binary, biologically, is because of chimeras. Only one of those reproductive pathways is ever actually viable, meaning a chimera can't have sex with themselves, impregnate themselves, and have children with themselves. It's not possible to do.
You're bringing up animals in the 21st century.
No, I'm talking about humans.
It doesn't even work.
That's humans. Human chimeras. So the thing is like biologically, only one reproductive pathway is viable. And that's with males who have uteruses. This idea, so we have biological anomalies we can point to right now where just through freak accidents.
The thing is, why? It's like, why is that progress, dude? You know what I mean? I would ask this guy why. Let's say we can get a butt baby going. If I can, huh? Okay, what do you want? Poop kids? Look, dude, you still need a vagina. As if the only purpose of a mother, the only function of the mother distinction with the distinction female body is simply to house the baby. These people are sick, man. They're sick. They like as if there isn't more that happens. In fact, the baby, the fetus inside the womb gives back to the mother. It's not just renting space so it can be born. That you can just do that with a dude. These people are so fucking delusional, man.
So biology.
Totally demented.
Yeah, but what if we take a man and put a poop baby in the man and it shits the baby out? What that, Andrew?
Transhumanism for the win? No! No, not transhumanism for the win. The fuck is... What is that reality? Fucking cunt.
Biology. We have seen these things occur, and they're not reproductively viable. There's no reason for me to assume that technologically we're going to be so advanced that men are going to be able to grow uteruses and have children.
And by the way, dude, you freak show, why have a man do that? Why not a dog? You know what I mean? It's like they're like, well, what happens if a man can poop out a baby? You're like, if you got to the point where you thought you could implant it into a man, you could just not implant it into a man and implant it into the refrigerator. And you can press the refrigerator when you want a new kid in your house. You freak show? I want heads on steaks, dude. I want heads on steaks.
But what happened?
Okay, what happens when we can implant a baby fetus inside of a dog? You fucking crazy person.
Because when eventually we'll be able to transplant baby into a frog.
You think that?
We're coming to an age where we're going to print out anything and anyone and any type of thing we want. I mean, literally, probably within 20 or 30 years. So we're definitely going to be able to
Yeah, if I can.
Print out something that combines anything and everything. You know, and that's just the fact that everybody that's in genetic editing.
It's just the future. Transhumanism is going to lead us. We're going to go to the mall. And after I go get an expensive shirt at the mall, I'm going to go to a vending machine and get a baby. That's what transhumanism.
Just sort of has to accept is that we're coming to an age.
Zoltan said he wanted to feel it grow inside of him. Oh, man. I totally, dude. Sometimes it's probably not even good for me. And I'm reaching a point where it's like, I should probably go to confession. Cause I'm like making lists. I'm searching Facebook Marketplace for train cars. These people are so demented. They're so lost. It's like you're angry at them. You hate them. You want to stop their lineage. You know, normal thoughts. But you also like pray for them. You feel bad. They're so damn lost.
I want to feel the baby grow inside of me.
Why, you freak?
When you and I will be able to shift things probably within a 24-hour period, maybe within a 2-minute period. And that's because of drugs, DNA, nanotechnology.
I want to know what it's like to be a cow for a day. Transhumanism is going to make it possible to be a cow in India for a day. Now all those brown people move out of the way when I come down the street. I want to eat garbage. Move. Move.
Whatever it is. And I think Christians are going to have to say, okay, you spoke about this in your intro, like the hybrid and zombieism. Okay, this is true. I get it. It has a real negative connotation, but it is coming. I mean, the idea that I can chop off an arm and grow another arm is literally right around the corner. They're already doing it now.
No, it's not.
What a fucking lunatic. What a lunatic.
It's right around the corner. I can't wait to chop off my arm and grow it back.
We're going to grow a second brain, a second head.
A second brain, a second head. These people are lunatics.
It's going to be wild.
You know what's really funny about?
Look at his face, dude. Come with me and you'll see a world of your imagination. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Cuckoo! Put him in a cage. Fucking whack job. Absolute whack job. We live with whack jobs, dude. We live with just whack jobs. We're gonna grow a second head. The arm and the wings and the head. We could go to the poopy hole. I mean, poopy hole. What? What? You'll see, Andrew. You'll see. I'm gonna poop out my elbow. I'm gonna speak out my eyelid. Fucking nut job. Oh man, I just. You know, you guys need to pray for me. As I dream about it. I dream about just. You know what I'm battling with? There's a verse that the spiritual war is not of flesh and blood. And I don't want, I'll just be honest. I don't want that to be true sometimes. I don't. My worldly impulses, my human, the part of me that's broken wants that just to, can we just take that out just for a week? Can we do like a, just white it out for a month? Because when I see that look in someone's eye, like that whacked out look, look at that fucking guy. And then I'm going to grow a child out of my elbow. And it's not wrong to touch the child out of my elbow because it's me. I'm going to be elected in California. You freak. It's like Ernest goes to camp. It's like Ernest turns into a transhumanist. Fucking whack job, man.
About this entire ideology.
I want a war.
I've heard you make these claims on other shows as well. Then I go and look into them. Right? I go and I actually look into the claims. For instance, regrowth of limbs. You know what the scientific consensus is on the time frame for regrowth of limbs? Somewhere around 400 years at current state. Right?
You can't be serious telling me 400
serious.
years. Listen, AI is about to be super intelligence. And
AI, unbelievable. AI. You know what AI gave us? Jesse Wells. AI.
18 months.
Yeah, see, this is another
claim. Be able to
claim.
figure out everything very quickly. 18 months.
This is another fun claim. I want to tell you that 18 months ago, this claim was being made. Did you know that? And by the way, 18 months before that, the same claim was being made.
You know what's interesting? Sorry to interrupt so much, but I'm a little bit talkative because I'm a little bit drunk. The same tendency for, say, like global warming, the sky is falling. What's the opposite of the sky is falling? I don't even know. Is there even a name for it? Because we always focus on that. It's like a deathy, culty thing where it's like, we're going to die, how dare you? We got to save the banks. Well, that's like using fear tactics, like end of the world, apocalyptic kind of shit, right? But the other side of the hand is what the transhumanists do. They present the utopia version of it. And it's the same tactic. Where instead of saying we're all gonna die if you don't get rid of your brick oven pizzas, we're gonna die. Get rid of your trucks. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. They're like we're gonna live. We're gonna live. We're gonna live. And it's like, what's the opposite of the sky is falling? I don't even know what it is. It's a rosy. It's like the sky is flying. Like I don't even know what it is. But it's usually left out of the equation because the sky has fallen is like a dominant. Maybe it's the news, fear, cortisol, this kind of thing. But like, it's the same tactic. It's the same worldview. It's like, oh, we're going to do this thing. We're getting there. It's like, dude, you're not even close. It's not even close. And they try to, it comes back to theosis, apotheosis. They're trying to become like God. They're trying to transcend. They're trying to achieve some sort of salvific status. And they think it's transcending the world. It's gnostic. In its very nature, it's gnostic.
And you know who was making it? You, sir. You, sir.
I can't believe
18
you're
months
talking
ago.
about
Hang on, sir. I want to point this out, right? Maybe I can grab the clip real quick. 18 months ago, you were on a show saying in 18 months, AI is going to take over the world, essentially. Same thing you're claiming right now. You were claiming the same thing.
I didn't say it's going to take over the world.
Hang on, sir.
Idiot.
The same claim.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They're like, technology is going to save the world. It's also going to kill the world. But we need technology to save the world from technology. And so what's their future? What, a future of robots that are really smart that fight each other? There's good robots and bad robots? I mean, these people have to grow up. I mean, this guy was clearly breastfed until he was 17.
Claim you just made that AI is going to be so advanced it's going to be able to take over all aspects of life. We're only 18 months away. You said it 18 months ago, right? And so now here we are, 18 months later.
I can say that. I probably said there would be AGI. And what happened last week? Japan announced that they had already achieved AGI. And now I'm saying within 18 months, we'll probably start reaching levels of early superintelligence, maybe 20.
Dude, they don't even have a definition of intelligence. Look, is a calculator intelligent? No. No. A calculator is so dumb that it doesn't even know that it's saying boobs when I want it to say boobs. That's how dumb a calculator is. The calculator is so dumb that if I programmed it to make the wrong calculations and produce the wrong outputs to the inputs, it doesn't even say, hey, sir, it's a little raw. You're being a little bit abusive to me. These psychopathic technocrats can't even tell you what intelligence is.
4 months, and I got to be honest. I'm not saying this because I just say it.
I'm
saying this because I met the OpenAI engineers who pulled me in a corner and were like, "Listen, we are much closer. We're starting to buy bunkers. We're starting to do things because we're afraid ourselves." And
dude, that's called hype. That's called availability cascade. You dumb shit. It's like the oldest trick in the book. Availability entrepreneurship is literally the only thing that keeps all of these promises of AI and new tech breaking through the wall of humanity going. Availability cascades. For those of you who don't know, let me just read it for you. The AG guy, the fucking weird guy, Sam Altman, who literally killed someone. He's telling me the promise of AI. You guys are full of shit. Most basic things we still have problems with in life. Most basic. Scheduling issues. The bane of all of existence. Scheduling conflicts. AI is coming along. It's going to be able to fill your gas tank immediately. All you're doing is saying you don't want to do shit. You're lazy. He's a furry. He's probably a furry. He's definitely been to Burning Man. He definitely went to Burning Man. His name was Rick, and he came back as Zoltan. All right, call me Zoltan now. Seriously, I had a major transformation in Burning Man. I went to Tent 8. I watched a bunch of 300-pound lesbians eat each other out. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit intoxicated. I changed my life. Changed my life forever, Tent 8. I came back, changed my whole existence. Okay. An availability cascade is a self-reinforcing social process where a belief or idea gains traction and seems more plausible as it's repeated and becomes a more available in the public discourse. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like AI? Driven by cognitive shortcuts, social pressures, leading to rapid belief formation. It's exactly what happens. These people are nuts. Oh, it's going to come. It's coming around the corner. Oh, I'm going to grow an arm. I'm going to grow a limb. I'm going to grow this. I'm going to grow that. Fucking people are nuts, man. It's like watching a Montessori school, but for adults.
And the claim that I made, I'm not sure which one it was about AGI, which is the equivalent of artificial intelligence to humans. And yes, that has been reached in the last few months, no matter how.
Yeah, I'm aware of the distinction.
Jimbob self. No, I do not watch 300 pounders do that.
Between true artificial intelligence and AGI, the idea here is you have enough open nodes that you can't tell the difference, right? It basically.
The ground is rising. That's funny, David. Sky is falling. The ground is rising. That's good. That's really good. Because I couldn't think of it. I was like, what is the opposite? What is it?
Replicates, for all intents and purposes, what you would consider artificial intelligence to be. I get that. By the way, we're not there either. And the computing power that would be required to utilize AGI right now, currently, the scientific consensus is there's not enough energy on planet Earth to hold enough nodes in order to have AGI replicate the same intelligence as a human being with all the nodes which would be required. And so the thing is like, this is...
How funny is that of a joke God played on these people who want to be God? That, like, essentially, if what Andrew's saying is true, or even minimally true, is that the power required for even one unit of what you call intelligence to replicate the intelligence of a human requires so much more energy. Like, it's crazy. These people are nuts.
This is mental masturbation futurism. The idea
Andrew,
here, hang on,
what you're saying is a lie. It's just not true.
It is true.
We have plenty enough energy for multiple AGIs. I mean, this is crazy. We have enough for a million AGIs on planet Earth. There's plenty enough.
Your drunk super chats? Where? Brady, clankers will never get the rights to be a person, 3/5 of the person at best. I know, it makes me want to debate. People are like, you got to debate Grok. Because Grok's a little more based and not so special. But I had a grand old time. In fact, one of my favorite debates ever, if you want to call it that, was debating an AI talking about all these topics, because at least they're honest, actually. They actually try to answer questions. They can't define intelligence because it doesn't exist in their worldview, because it's all random chain of events. Yeah. They don't know. They don't even know where they're trying to get to. Where should we go, Zoltan? That's what I would ask him. So simple. Hey, Zoltan, where should we go?
Power.
No. That's not what I said.
Got the notification for your print today. Stoked for it. Yeah. Awesome. Shout out to MadeByJimbob, who made all of that happen in the last 2 days, taking over our little living room, transforming it into a literal shipping warehouse. So yeah, she I think she punched out like over 70 of them. So you guys should be all getting yours before Christmas.
Andrew, they're working on...
And if you didn't, I think there's 6 left. 5 left, and you better grab them, because we're about to send out an email. We have an email list. We didn't even send out our email list. So, in fact, that actually makes me wonder. It would really piss them off if I sent out an email blast and all of the prints were gone.
On AGI,
they're like, hey, pick up this print that's totally sold out that you can't get. Ha ha, loser.
Microsoft and Google and OpenAI. There's thousands of them.
To have an AGI which would replicate what we would consider to be artificial intelligence. That's a different claim than having AGI, which is just having X amount of node data packets that it can reference. Meaning, this is old ladder logic computing, by the way. There's nothing new under the sun here. Old ladder logic computing just works like this. Function A happens, you divert to function B. Function B happens, you divert to function C. AGI is putting that on a grander scale of node.
Yeah, it's just a mass scale if-then, but this, add some things in there. That's why Andrew and many people who understand like just basic like a system operation of if-then statements, no one's really impressed. We might be impressed with the speed of the calculation, where it's like, punch me out a song and it does it really fast, but we're not impressed by what's happening. We're only impressed in reference to what it would take a human to do that. But that's not what the standard is. We're looking at a calculator. Like how long were we impressed for when the first calculator digitally came out and did a massive calculation, in a tiny little thing the size of our phone? What, a week? What, 1 week and we're over it? We're okay. The calculator does a calculation. Yeah, and then people are like, yeah, but don't you understand? The calculator's going to grow ahead. No, it's not. All of the technology that we ever create, because of its source, which is human, will only ever do what it's capable of doing because of what it's programmed to do. So we're never that impressed by it. Why would we be impressed? That's like making a car and the car works, and then you're impressed that the car works. Oh my gosh, look at that car work. What do you mean, look at the car work? We've been making these cars for years. Of course it works. We know how it works. That's why we made it. Yeah, but I mean, look at that car just go. Look at it go down. It turns right. It turns left. Yeah, we made it do that. That's Andrew's point. Making it more complex, making it more an extrapolated map of if-then statements doesn't impress people because we know what's happening. We know exactly what it's doing. Oh, but I'm just so impressed. I'm curious what the outcome is of all the modern scientific theories that are built on a house of cards with bad assumptions over and over again. War. I don't think it's war. It might be like a collapse, which maybe a collapse could lead to a type of war. I don't know. I actually think, Chaw, that the fight is actually people who aren't scientismos, and I think it's going to be more like. That's my view. I think a fight of war is more of an ideological one that turns physical. Whether it's with Muslims or like other liberty above all conservatives. That's kind of my hunch. I hope I'm wrong about that. It's crazy how much trust this man puts into tech made by an imperfect being and expects perfection. Yeah, it's insane. It's like a fetish.
It's like saying, hey,
it's like he dreams about it.
Function A happens here, you divert to C, and if you add enough of those, it would make the appearance that like a robotic arm is not distinct from a human arm because it seems to function exactly the same way. The problem is once you try to move that into artificial intelligence or on par with that, that's where we have energy issues. Not only that, let me point this out. All of this stuff, this futurism that you're talking about right now, does not contend in any way, shape, or form, even if the technology was there, for how it would make the United States better. I've seen what technocrats do with this stuff.
Andrew, you're just listen, Andrew. I'm the expert on this. If we talk politics, I think I listen to some of your debates. You actually are. You know a lot more about the Constitution than me and this that. But this is my field. These are the people that I deal with in Silicon Valley.
What did I get wrong about AGI?
I'm telling you, you're wrong. It's like,
well, what did I get wrong about AGI
and I would, if I was going to give one piece of advice to a lot of your people, I'd say start buying land, start buying cabins in the woods, because this thing is about to get crazy really quickly. And
what? That says nothing, bro. You making that? This thing's about to get crazy quickly. Yeah. Well, oh no. Is it gonna punch out another shitty CGI or whatever song? Dude, Andrew, you have no idea. You're about to be bombarded with the worst AI music that you've ever heard.
And let me just say also that this is one of the problems with trans.
Do you understand the type of weird pornography that's going to happen? Do you even understand?
Humanism right now is we've all been gung-ho on AI, only to pull back about 18 or 24 months ago and say, wait a sec, AI is not human beings becoming transhuman. AI is a totally different entity. So this is where
It's not an entity. What are you talking about, you whack job?
Humanism and
thing
maybe some of your framework we can discuss again has gone off the rails because all of a sudden I don't care. I don't want an AI to become a super intelligence. That doesn't help me or my family or my kids or my wife at all.
What did I actually get wrong about AGI and how it functions? Did I get something wrong there? I'm willing to be corrected on it, but I don't think I did. I think I'm very
first off, it's totally contentious whether this A to B to C can't actually create a super intelligence.
Yeah, but
another 50s soul version of a pop song.
Maybe there's just enough information that it can't. I'm not saying
you understand, Andrew, what we're about to be hit with. We're about to be hit with an infinite amount of Nirvana songs sung in the key of Elvis. Total takeover. Total takeover.
Saying that is there are other alternatives that are saying that lateral thinking has to be something different. But I'm pointing out that that's definitely open debate.
Have you even heard polka punk yet?
For all the
so I
philosophers
did get
at
that
Oxford.
right. I did get that right for what AGI actually, in fact, is, right? I was not inaccurate there.
You didn't get it right. We're not sure yet 100% how to get to superintelligence. We've already achieved AGI through the A, B, C, D because our brains work that way. The question is, how can we take AGI and go beyond what we are?
You can't, dude. There's a total defeater to this argument. It would leave him like completely flabbergasted. Zoltan here doesn't have a distinction of where we are and what we are now. He doesn't have a definition of human, right? Now, this gets into metaphysics. It gets a little bit deeper. It gets cluttered. This isn't Andrew's style. It's not his topic, right? But for me, if I were to debate Zoltan, it would be a totally different operation here because I would question these fundamental things that he's assuming. You can't say we're going to transcend humanity if Zoltan himself can't define what humanity is as a universal. He can't. He's like, oh, here we are, where we're at, what we're doing, and then we're going to get to somewhere else. And we're like, well, hold on. What is it to be human such that you could fundamentally change the universal of what it is to be human? Now, it is parallel to my attack on evolution, very similar. The similar attack is you can't rely on this assumption of speciation, that one species as a universal goes through some process that produces a variation of it where it no longer becomes itself later down the road. Something down the road becomes not itself. You have to have a standard objectively of what it means. So the same, I would levy the same criticism, cross-examination to Zoltan. I'd say, in place of species, what is human? Universal. Is that universal? Is it a universal thing to be human? How do you know when it's changed? What are you talking about? How do you know when we celebrate the changing, the transcendence of what it means to be human? How do we know that if you, Zoltan, you don't even have a universal, coherent, metaphysical definition of what it means to be, what it is to be a human? You got nothing. You'd be like, it doesn't matter. We're going to transcend it. We're going to become calculators.
We want something super intelligent. And that's what they're working on right now. But
I'm going to change into a calculator.
I got to be honest. There's at least 3 different methodologies from AI engineers that seem to say we can scale to super intelligence.
Yeah, I've heard the theories there, but again,
can you tell me? Hold on, Zoltan. Hold on. Can you tell me what intelligence is? Can you just do that for me? You think you can?
What I'm doing, unless you, when I gave you the function, the idea of having like nodes, and then these nodes have X amount of functions, which they can defer to X behavior.
Yes, Rachel, that's what I argue. It definitely violates the law of identity. It assumes an identity that you can reference that somehow leads to a change in the identity. But when you ask, is the identity that it originated, is that static? And they're like, no, of course it's not static. Okay, no, of course. No, it's nothing. It's not anything. Totally changing.
In this case, let's just call it behavior. It's not actually that, but behavior A, behavior B, behavior C, behavior D, function A, B, C, D, right? In a ladder logic type of way. Same way a signal light works, right? Timer hits this, it hits the next function, it moves over to yellow. It hits the next function, it moves over to red.
If then, yeah. Andrew has this completely right.
You had enough.
That's why Andrew's not impressed. He's like, if then statements, but a lot of them. Lot of if then statements. Wow. It's like, who cares? No one's impressed by this.
Web, it would be indistinguishable from how an artificial intelligence would actually function in real time. What am I getting wrong there? That is what AGI is it not?
It is indeed, but the question I was bringing up is how do we get to superintelligence? And that's what they're working on right now. And
they're always working on it, right? Oh, that's what they're doing right now in the little bunkers and all their little castles. They're thinking about the super, super, super intelligent ones.
I think if you take the capacity of this A to B kind of logic you've taken, that's sort of how our brains work. That's how we're coming up with memories. You and I are having this conversation right now. But the problem is really scaling it upwards. That's what's more controversial. But like I said, there are 3 methodologies. People are working. I got to say, there are trillions of dollars going into.
How often do I drink bourbon? Not often. Once a week.
Developing this. And I'm not saying necessarily for it because I am a little bit afraid of AI superintelligence.
Yeah, I heard it.
But we're further.
I've never heard of Luke Smith. No.
Advance, I think you can give credit for.
I don't. Well, here's the thing, right? I've been hearing this for years. The idea of a technological panic, sir, is nothing new. Remember Y2K? That was another form of technological panic.
Yeah, totally.
The computers were going to reset.
Y2K.
They needed to make the Y2K compliant software immediately, or else. And what was that in actuality? It was a bunch of futurists who were scamming massive corporations into fixing problems which didn't even actually exist. The thing is that I hear this all the time.
That's the craziest thing. Like, forget 9/11, forget the moon landing for a second. That's amazing. That a bunch of nerds convince a bunch of people who rely on nerds, so they trust them, that an arbitrary thing like the year, an arbitrary thing like the number digits of a year that's in a computer system would fundamentally change the computer system itself forever in a destructive way. You almost deserve it. I hate to think like that, but it's like you almost deserve it. We're like, did you hear? Did you hear him? Our tech guy came in and said, our whole entire computer system is vulnerable because the year's going to change between 1999 and 2000 in the system. So what do you guys think? Should we spend $50,000 to revamp it? I don't know, man. I don't know about this stuff. Freaks me out. Wow.
I hear that there's the next futurist.
I heard the 4 numbers are going to change for what constitutes a date in the system, so it's going to really mess
problem
everything
based
up.
on technology that needs to be.
And I remember that because I graduated high school in 1999, so I thought it was like, I remember buying into it, not knowing anything about it, just rhetorically. Like I was like, oh yeah, that makes me special. I graduated at the cusp of the downfall of all humanity and technology. Nothing happened.
Be solved immediately. It has to be because it's right around the corner. When in fact the doomsday scenario is not right around the corner, and it's usually promoted by people, right, who have something to gain by it, by ringing the alarm bell that hey, right around the corner, this catastrophe is right there. When in fact it's not. I have seen no great evidence that artificial intelligence we're anywhere near it, anywhere near actual AI. Only theories that AGI could possibly or potentially replicate what artificial intelligence.
Further, the AI movement, almost purposefully leaves out deceptively that the proper distinction for AI is actually augmented intelligence, not artificial. Now, a lot of people try to use those synonymously, but they're not once you get technical. Augmented intelligence, which is what Andrew's actually describing, which is the reality of all these technologies, which is a set of more complex if-then statements that has access to a large sample set of metadata that it can process very quickly with increasingly more precise context. Now, context is always the thing that's kind of missing in all of these operations. That's why we're not too worried. Because context is like a human thing as we contextualize and we can maybe get an inside joke that a computer can't get because it's topical and trending or, context dependent. But the computer just does if-then statements. So it's like the futurist is always selling people. And I know for those of you who just maybe showed up recently, I know this because I was a futurist. I remember selling people the same bullshit, which is, oh, you guys, at some point, the if-then statements, the conditionals that humans necessarily put into technology to do tasks for the human, eventually will rise up naturally, right, as an emergent property. Emergent property will suddenly start determining its own will. That's a fantasy. That totally a total. There's no reason. There's no inductive analysis that you can point to come to the conclusion that if we do more precise, more complex if-then statements inside of augmented intelligence, there might be a threshold where it wakes up. Wakes up? Excuse me? No, in fact, what's probably going to happen is the AI, augmented intelligence, starts to think so much for the human outsources so much of the thinking that the humans become sort of zombies, right? and somehow are convinced to take the suggestion of the technology. Now, that's the true cusp that we should be worried about, and it's not the tech. It's not the tech. It's the humans. The worry is the humans, not the tech. The worry is the humans become submissive to the tech for bad reasoning. That's the scary part, dude. The scary part isn't tech. The scary part is the humans. For instance, up until recently, the thing we made called the shovel was made to suit our intent. It served us. We made a phone to serve our intent. It served us. We made things to serve us. It's only now, maybe in the first time in human history, where the technology that humans are making, the same dumb humans are convinced to take the suggestion of the tech. That would be to say, imagine a shovel making a suggestion to the shovel holder to what to do. We would go, I'm not going to listen to stupid shovel. You dumb shovel. Keep your shovel shut. You shut your shovel. But now it's like, tell me AI, what should I do? That's scary. That's not a technological issue. That's the human issue. And it's all connected to the rejection of God, because you don't listen to the tech. You don't listen to the tech. You follow the revealed truth of Christ. It's not a technology. Zoltan wants to follow the tech. He would be one of the people taking the suggestions from the very smart Grok, who's analyzed all the data, who knows better than him, who can see the future that he can't, right? Zoltan, I don't know, Zoltan. I understand your very limited human perspective that you don't think this is going to work out, but trust me, I ran the numbers. You got to kill your mom. Trust me, bro. I already saw it play out, bro. I'm smarter than you. This is what's unique about the tech. It's not the tech. What's unique is that humans are in such a precarious position, such a vulnerable spiritual position, that they're open to the idea of taking prescriptives from technology. Technology! You know what's weird? Isn't the machine in Big called Zoltan or Zoltar? I don't know. It's like kind of like a funny euphemism, like forever being childlike and looking to a machine to tell you your future. There's so many levels of stupid in this debate. These slimy technophile grifters, they suck. They're not good thinkers. That's what's so kind of funny about it. They just totally abandoned philosophy. Orthodox. Yeah, they should sound like evolutionists. It's totally connected. All of it's connected.
But none of that, even if I concede all of this point, that AI is right around the corner, right? Inside of the United States, how would it be helpful for us to abandon the Christian framework for transhumanist one in order to combat that? How?
Well, let me just say that, like, you can already go out and get softwares that would literally be answering your questions almost identically as you are now, and me doing that. And we actually don't even have to be in here in person. But
see what I'm saying? It's like, let's move ourselves away.
The point is that the technology is radically expanding. And I think I just want to give your viewers my perspective, which is like, it's a lot faster, coming faster than most people say. But listen.
Yeah. Rachel mentioned this book by David Patrick Harry, the guy who bought me my bourbon, by the way. Return to Babylon is about this. Now you can't, I would say, and probably obviously in this book he says it. Sorry, green screen. It's called Return to Babylon, From Adam to Antichrist. You cannot approach this problem of technology, if it was a problem, without the lens of Christianity. Like, you can't do it. You can't make sense of these categories without Christianity, particularly Orthodox Christianity. So if you like, I have no stake in this, but Return to Babylon, definitely a read if you're interested in this topic, because you have to include teleology. You have to include the not like having knowledge of theosis versus apotheosis, having knowledge of what you're pursuing and why is important in these questions. You can't approach it, and we're showing right now Zoltan can't approach these problems.
Listen, I got to be honest. This is where I worry about my own personal philosophy. Transhumanism has taken us to the next level where we are able to create AI, but if it dooms humanity and
transhumanism didn't take us to AI. You fetish. What kind of statement is that? Transhumanism took us to AI? No, humans, as we know them today, created augmented intelligence. It's just a natural extrapolation from applied computing and applied science. Moore's law, accelerating returns. This is a place that we knew we were going to get to. Computing power gets bigger. Oh my gosh.
Does something like, because there is a very real possibility there could be a Terminator scenario. And if humans don't survive, then obviously transhumanism and my ideology and scientific method would not have failed, and yours would have been more successful. Yours might.
Zoltan is in the chat. I'm highly skeptical.
For bet right now, because I don't think many Christians would want to give birth to artificial intelligence, especially not a super intelligence, because it just doesn't fit with their framework.
Jimbob plays with his own turds. Only when they don't come out properly.
That said, if it does work in our favor, we might have this great utopia, get off planet, be able to cure cancer, and become superhumans. And that's really the goal of a lot of transhumanists. But again, it's a wager, it's a bet, and we don't know, whether it's going to turn out good or not.
You see how, interestingly enough, when push comes to shove, you divert to my ethical worldview and not me yours. The idea here is...
Well, it could be Buddhism, it could be Hinduism, it could be Islam. I mean, it could be any view.
Hang on, but it's not those views. It's actually a deference to Christian ethics. I
would defer to Buddhism just personally.
Those are the ethics which you were raised with, and this and that, right? And there's things about Buddhism. There's things about Buddhism you probably wouldn't like as much as Christianity. But that aside, leaving that aside,
nihilism is where I would end up with. But
yeah, hang on.
That's how it is.
If it's the case that Terminators, let's say, due to transhumanists,
nihilism is where you end up. Yeah, well, dude. You can't take a nihilist approach and then say we ought to pursue transhumanism in whatever form, right? Who cares at that point? What are we talking about?
Did come around. We had a Sarah Connor type situation absent the time travel, okay? No time travel, just warbot machines who came in and decided to repurpose us by, against our will, cutting our skulls open and putting our brains in these machines, which can then live forever, right? It's really interesting to me because that would be a transhumanist future, 100% transhumanist future. But it's a future you seem to want to avoid, and I don't understand why. It gives you everything that you want. Technology then removes the idea of death. It is now gone. And yet somehow you still prefer my framework that this needs to be stopped. Hang on, that this needs to be stopped by any means necessary, even though it meets all of the conditionals of your framework. You have now, sir, under this Terminator-like apocalypse where they cut your brain out and put it in a machine, have achieved the very thing you want, and yet...
See, this is what's interesting, is that the transhumanists, and Elon Musk has done this multiple times, where he'll sell the capabilities of AI and new technology and everything you can dream of, and that at the same time, he'll sell you the remedy of the downfall that causes, which is also habitually more technology. So it's like, the AI and stuff take over or something. Very scared of it. We need to regulate augmented intelligence. And it's like, what's the remedy? And he's like, more technology is going to save the day. It's like a comic book where the villain, the antagonist and the protagonist, the villain and the hero, they're both the same entity, technology. You know what I mean? It's like Calvinists. It's like evil and good are both different meat puppets that God is using, and he's creating a pseudo war, and they're arguing. You shouldn't do that. Well, you should submit to my grace. I tried, but I have no free will. It's like, what do you think is happening?
You still don't see.
If I can.
I don't want it. It's very strange to me.
Listen, if that machine is me, that doesn't want to die, that loves life, loves his family, loves humanity, has mammalian instincts, then I would take that machine. But if it is that machine, it's not going to end up.
We're supposed to transcend those things.
Humanity.
What do you mean?
You see, if I were Andrew right now, I would have said, don't you believe we're already just a machine? And there would be the problem. How do you transcend being a biological machine? What is the meaning of transcending if you already think you're a machine, Zoltan? Oh, we're going to transcend to a less efficient version of our body. to a plasticky one that breaks, that needs more maintenance than already does. It's like, dude, you already have a body that grows a scab to seal up your skin. You have a body that fights infections. You have a body that thinks. You have a body that does stuff. You have a body that moves according to your brain's will. He's like, yeah, but we got to escape it. And you're like, to what? To a more broken plasticky metal version? Why? It's shinier and colder. I don't know. I don't know why I'm here. I have no what I do. I want my mommy.
We're supposed to transcend the mammalian instincts. We're supposed to transcend humanity.
I've never said transhumanism wants to transcend mammalian instincts. Absolutely not.
Transhumanism.
I want to transcend a lot of the things that I have evolved with over millions of years.
Why do you want to keep your humanity? So you want to keep your humanity intact?
Yes. I certainly don't want to ever forget about my family. I mean, maybe there are some transhumanists out there who are like these crazy wackos that just want to become super godlike or whatever. But I actually want to take all my history with me and just become this person that can live indefinitely, take my family with me, see what's in the universe out there, and do have this amazing.
Dude, it's Mormonism, fucking cunt. The whole thing is Mormonism. You want a cosmic reality where your family goes with you and you reign over your own cosmic location, dude. Dude has Mormon face anyway. I'm not surprised.
Journey of exploration.
That's not transcending your humanity. It seems that your ethical system is demanding that humanity stay intact. When you talk about things like mammalian instincts,
no.
Yeah.
This is key, okay? This is why metaphysics is so important. Zoltan can't tell you what humanity is. Christianity can tell you. So, I mean, this topic is interesting because it's Christianity versus transhumanism. It's not transhumanism only, so there are two positives here. Two negatives, two positives. Andrew does actually have a kill shot here. He doesn't need it, but I'm sure he did. I didn't watch the rest. I'm sure he did quite well. But this is a kill shot right here available because Zoltan can't tell you what humanity is as a distinction, and Christianity can. So he can't tell you. So he's like, no, I don't want to do all those weird Kurzweil stuff where we turn into a simulator and we're each of one of our hairs is a piano key. I don't. Those people are freaks. I just want to transcend death and take my family into a cosmic roller coaster event that's forever. Okay? I want to hold on to my humanity. Okay, cool. So, another example, I would say that Christianity, Orthodox Christianity, has an exclusive proprietary claim on humanity. I would say that Christianity has the only coherent account for the category of humanity. And yet Zoltan here has to rely on the assumption, oh, humanity exists. I want to hold on to it, but I also want to transform it. You don't even have a distinction, Zoltan, for humanity. Nothing.
The best parts of humanity should be kept.
Let me at least respond. The best parts by whose metric? These are arbitrary metrics that you came up with. What makes them the best? Just because you like them? The thing is that
and just because an individual likes them.
Yes. So the thing is that if individuals didn't like them, let's say, and they said, we're going to cut your brain open, put it in a machine, whether you like it or not, you have now achieved your goal of immortality. You have transcended your mammalian instincts. You've transcended your very humanity.
Yeah, the things you're concerned about would no longer be proper to your nature as human. This is another problem with evolution. It violates the law of identity in regards to universals. Everything becomes nominal. You can't refer to the thing nature called humanity because it's no longer a universal. So what Andrew's saying is actually deeply metaphysical, but Zoltan can't grasp this, is that you can't transcend the thing because the new judgment of the thing you transcended would necessarily be the thing you transcended. It would be the human going into a new form, judging the past universal human, but maintaining its humanness, even though denying its humanness. It's insanity. This is where these people lead to. Complete insanity. A denial, an acceptance of the thing you're denying, and then a denial of the thing that you're trying to get to at the same time. It's so wild.
The very thing that you claimed, which was using technology for immortality. Definitionally, this is what you want.
This is like the oil barrel
thing
thing humanity. You're talking about sort of slavery. If I'm not in charge of it, if I'm not happy with what's happening with my transhuman evolution, then it doesn't work for me. Transhumanism is something that re-emphasizes my love of life. If I can't re-emphasize my love of life, then I don't want the philosophy.
Do you see here then, you're not actually trying to transcend humanity at all. What you're trying to do instead is you have like an oppositional worldview here. It's very bizarre. On the one hand, you say that you're willing to transcend all of the human elements for the purpose of immortality. And yet, when the conditional is presented, hey, this could actually happen. Let's say that we grant this transhumanist future where the Terminators cut your brain out and just put it in a Terminator. You still think like you still talk like you still do all of those things. But the things that made you human, those mammalian instincts, these various things that you are attached to emotionally.
Yeah, like flaws.
Those are gone, right? You say, no, I don't want to detach from these things. The very core things that ontologically make us human, I don't want to detach from.
Mm-hmm.
That is giving us great evidence here that the Christian ethical system is the deference that you use for.
And this is why Andrew's right. It's really the distinction, not just the ethical, but the distinction human. Human. That's the thing that Christianity has the superior ground on, metaphysically speaking, coherently. These people have nothing. They can't even tell you what a human is.
In order to make these claims, and
that's the great irony, is that they think they want to get to a machine, and yet if you ask them point blank if they think they're purely a biological machine, they say yes. Oh, you want to transcend the superior biological version of the machine? Yeah. I'm really out for the Walmart version of my body.
Society at all. You're deferring to my worldview, never me yours.
But I've already said I like 80% of your worldview. I just said it's the 20% that's going to make us evolve and grow.
All right, what's the 20% you don't like?
I like being a human being. I just think it's time to not necessarily have to eat every night to survive. Or not.
Oh, wow. And what did I say before early on? I'm going to start wrapping this up. This is interesting, but this is a marathon. I mean, there's almost 2 full hours left. It's probably going to loop a bit. I suspect it's going to loop a bit. But he's basically splitting and saying, I want to be human, but except I don't want the heartache of being human. I want to be human, but I don't want the sacrifice of being human. I want to be human, but I don't want the tribulations of being human. I want the reward, but not the climb. Total pussy, fucking cunt. Fucking cunt. What are you saying, dude? It comes down to sacrifice. It comes down to obligation. I want to be human, but I want obligation. I want to be a father, but I don't want the obligation. He doesn't want to eat. Get a life, dude. I just don't want to eat to survive every day. He wants to be conscious, but not human. It's like you can't even tell me what it means to be human if you start removing some of the constraints. I don't want to breathe. I just, you know what, Andrew? I totally love being human and everything about being human. I just wish I didn't have to breathe to exist. Fucking cunt.
Or not necessarily have to, die of cancer. There are things we can upgrade. And I also want to get off planet. Let's get to the Star Trek.
But wait a second.
Why get off planet? What kind of hellscape can you imagine is better than Earth? God gave you raspberries. I want to get off planet where it's really hard to grow even a potato. I really love transcending Earth. We have to escape this terrible prison called my body and Earth where there's literal strawberries I can eat every day if I wanted. We have coffee ice cream. We have air. We have beautiful mountains. We have beautiful animals. We have water and rivers and waterfalls and shooting stars and aurora borealis. You fucking cunt. I want to escape to a desolate fucking Mars planet where I'm in a desert trying to desperately siphon some water from a rock. Fucking cunt. What the hell's wrong with you, dude? What are you, Little Mermaid? What are you, Ariel? What do you want to be pregnant? I want to beat him up.
The idea that these are not violations of Christian ethics. What is this 20% of Christian ethics that you don't like? If we had technology that would make it so that you didn't have to eat, so what? You think, how would that violate Christian ethics? What do you mean?
We have steak and lobster, dude. We have barbecues. We have beer. We have gay beer. We have good scotch. We have bourbon. We have sneakers. I want to escape it. We have fly fishing. I hate these people. I hate them. Hate them. Hate them all.
I just told you, you have this idea that God gives us purpose, but I actually don't believe in God. Therefore, I don't see that purpose. And this is...
He just denied his own purpose. I don't believe in God. Therefore, I don't see any purpose.
That 20% that I missed.
Do you think that was a win? Do you really think that was the win?
And it's not, like I said, it's not that I'm not invited into my life. I just don't see it. And because I don't see it, maybe I'm like Thomas putting the finger through the, Jesus' hand. I don't see it. And as long as I don't see it, I'm going to continue with my own methodology, which creates my own purpose.
Yeah, but you're not just continuing with your own methodology. You're creating prescriptions for humanity, in this case, the United States, and making the bold claim that transhumanism is a much better future for people than Christianity. And yet any time I look at the way in which you can transcend humanity, you seem to defer right back to the Christian ethic of not doing that. So it seems like the bumpers that Christians put on society with responsible technology and not attempting to play God, not attempting to move into this arena of...
Here's the key here. From a transhumanist perspective, you don't have a line that you can cross where you violated a thing called dignity. Now, interestingly enough, and I use this argument all the time, most rudimentary version of is when an atheist says, I see no evidence for God, you say, well, there's no evidence for human rights. You have no evidence for information, no evidence for knowledge, no evidence for truth. Same problem Zoltan has. He's like, I don't believe in God, so I'm going to just do my own thing. Okay. Well, dude, what Andrew's saying is that a Christian ethical paradigm would put constraints, or as he said, bumpers, on some of these pathways for technology. You would have a normative authority to process and examine. Even if it were blurred, even if it were hard to discern, you'd at least have a normative system to process something against the positive that humans have dignity, that humans have purpose, that humans have deontology, obligation, responsibility. Zoltan can't tell you at what point does the use of a technology violate the dignity of a human being for two key reasons. He can't tell you what a human being is, and he also can't tell you how he could possibly tell you why he would believe in something called dignity. Isn't it interesting that all of these people reject God first their empirical from their empirical views, but then they go, well, humans have dignity. What? And by the way, if you were to transcend into a robot, on what basis would we apply dignity or any sort of metaphysical, supernatural attribute to a machine, dude? These people are sick. They're sick.
Transcending our humanity. First of all, I just want to let you know, within my worldview, it's not even possible, all right?
He wants eternity without God. Yeah, and in a way, he's going to get it. You know, I can't make judgments, salvific judgments, but let's say likelihood. The irony is that these people want to live a life rejecting God in pursuit of eternity based on their own preferences. And if Christianity is true, they're going to end up with eternity based on their own preferences. They chose it.
Right? It's not even a logical possibility. I don't even think immortality is a logical possibility from my worldview. So from your worldview, I understand that it is, and I'm trying to contend with that, right? But to me, it's not even logically possible. And when we're talking about prescriptions, especially here in the United States, right, the idea of, moving towards the...
one more thing here, and I'm going to start wrapping it up, is that from a Christian lens, death in the material sense is a separation of the body from the soul. Now, transhumanism, the reason they always mangle up, and they're ultimately, like Andrew said, appealing to Christianity and mangling it, think about this. If from a Christian perspective, a death is a separation from the material body and the soul, they separate. So it's not ultimately a death, not annihilation death, but it's a separation of the body and the soul. Now, what we would call the soul, Zoltan would call the being, the consciousness, the thing that's a knower, the entity that's encased in the body. So he has to be a transhumanist, you actually have to hold some type of dualistic approach between body and mind and soul or whatever. Now, what's interesting is he wants death. The transhumanist seeks death in the way a Christian presents death. They seek the separation of the body and the soul. In this case, the mind, the being. They seek it. They want to contrive it. They want to fabricate their own separation. And yet, how hilarious God plays this joke on the people who reject him. How hilarious is that they're the ones saying they want to transcend death. Sir, is death, would you say death is, in a sense, the separation of your mind, your body, your being, or your mind, your being from the body? Yes. And transhumanism wants to transcend that, right? You want to defeat death? Yes. How? How do you transcend death? What's your methodology? By separating the mind, soul from the body. That's literally, figuratively, metaphorically, metaphysically death! You fucking cunt!